So thanks everybody for joining today. I'm very pleased to launch this first webinar of the SixSq company regarding the App Store. And today we have the pleasure to have our LatenceTech partner that is there on the call with us, with Benoit. We will be able to do a presentation as well of their solution, and we will have a demo that will be done by our engineer called Sebastien. So nice to meet you, meet all of you. So my name is Damien. I'm the sales director in charge of the SixSq. We are part of the Equinox family, which is a telecom solutions service provider. During this webinar, the idea is to present you a little bit about what we do at SixSq and what is the edge. Talk a little bit about the edge computing. What is our marketplace, and inside this marketplace to talk about LatenceTech and show you a demo. We have more and more demand, and this partner has been very nice and involved with us, and is providing great features for monitoring, QoS testing, and 5G applications. First of all, let me explain a little bit about what is the edge computing. I think you probably are familiar or not, but the idea is that you have a lot of devices now that are deployed on the sites. So it could be industrial site, can be trucks, factories, retail, and we have more than 5 billion devices of these devices that are deployed now everywhere, sending a lot of traffic. And the communication between the remote equipments and the application is done somewhere through the network up to the cloud. And during a long time, a lot of applications have been moved to the cloud, which was the move to cloud strategy. And more enterprises are realizing that the cloud is not the only solution that is available and appropriate to do all these application hosting. So on the far side, so we have the cloud, which can be private or public. And on the between, application can be deployed on different edge locations. It can be on site, so it means the application is deployed completely on premise, on the closest way as possible of the devices to collect information without any kind of latency. So it's milliseconds of latency. It's located on the same site, like remote offices or headquarters, and we are going to collect and send information, take decision locally. So in that case, the sovereignty is 100%. It means even if you lose the connection to internet, these applications are going to be able to run, and they don't need to send all the data through the network back to the cloud. And on the middle, you have the far edge, which are the cell sites, aggregation nodes, radio accesses, for example, where you have multiple network flows that are coming into the same place where you can deploy some application to do some testing. And you have the near edge, which is not completely in the cloud, but which are like centralized office data centers, very small data centers that are deployed locally into regions to provide application close to the sites, but not completely on the site. So what do we do on Nuvla, on SixSq side to provide this application at these different locations? What we created is an application, edge application store, called Nuvla.io. So in this Nuvla.io platform, we are hosting public applications, so open source, which are free of charge. We are hosting as well private applications that have been created by software vendors that are answering to a specific need. So this is LatenceTech that we will be, for example, that we will be demonstrating a little bit after. And we have as well your own application that you can deploy into the store as much as you want. So these applications are Docker containers or containers, and you can go into that and say, okay, I want to deploy this application on many edge devices. So it could be servers, it could be small devices, small hardwares, Equinox devices, CPEs, and you can deploy very easily in few clicks this application across thousands of sites. And it will be only charged on the pay by use, so you only pay for what you are consuming at a certain time. And you can increase, decrease it, and it will be completely dynamic. And this software, the application, when they are deployed on the remote hardware, so they will start exchanging with the different IoT devices, which can be sensors, which can be cameras to do computer vision, which can be 5G networks, and we will focus on that a little bit after, local access data, and so on. So important is it's completely secured. It means that you have security all across the board in the marketplace, but as well on all the exchanges that are done between the components. It's completely multi-tenant, so it is designed for being deployed by service provider, for example. So they can provide it to many customers, and inside a customer you can have different projects, and they all are very, I would say, secured. So it can be scaled on many devices, and it's supported on any kind of hardware that have IRM or x86 architectures. So on the hardware part, I will make a little focus on the Equinox portfolio, for example. So this is the mother company, and they have universal CPEs. So it means devices that are based on different hardwares, like Dell and others, and as well on their own routers that is based on a proprietary devices. So on these different equipments, for example, you can deploy operating system, and on top of that, you can deploy virtual network function, routing function, and all the NUVLA application marketplace. So you can, if you have already, for example, Equinox devices, one access devices deployed on your network, you can easily, on few clicks, deploy this application across your devices and start to do some testing. So it could be, for example, a 5G CPE, and inside this 5G CPE, we will deploy the LatenceTech application that we will show just after. Okay. So on a UCPE, you have different features that can be deployed. It can be monitoring features like SNMP features. It can be testing. We work with Keysight. It can be cyber security features, and we have AH Labs and others. And we have as well a very important platform that is based on which is at LatenceTech, and which is providing latency and QoS monitoring. So that being said, I will give the ball to Benoit, and he will be able to deep dive into this part, and we will be able to do a demo for you.
All right. Thank you, Damien. So I will share my screen and show you a little bit what we are doing at LatenceTech. You should see my screen now.
Perfect.
All right, so we're LatenceTech. We're a telecom company based in Montreal, Canada, and we provide a real-time automatic and GenAI-based monitoring and forecasting and assurance tool with a focus on low latency. It's supported by 5G CPE, as Damien said, modem, routers, switches, virtual machines within the NUVLA IO environment, and also supported by the Equinox nodes. You may have seen the latest fast or high-speed networks providing higher bandwidth, reliability, edge computing, and we just mentioned. But for us, the real advantage or disruption is the ability to have a very low latency. And we call that now stable low latency, because the stability is also important as the low latency itself. This is a new focus. It's important for many new services. You can see some of these industrial applications here on the left, or consumer digital offerings on the right here. All these services needs super low and stable latency to function well. If there are too many variations on latency or throughput, these may become unusable or generate a security risk or generate insatisfaction for by the end users. That's why it's important to measure this component or this characteristics of high-speed network, which is the latency area. So we have come up with a monitoring solution which is based only on hardware. We have a software probe that we call QoS agent. We can put it on equipment such as CPE modems, switch and routers, and virtual nodes or edge nodes, and it can provide monitoring, assurance, and predictive insights to come up with some ideas about what to do if you see a lot of variation on the latency. The system can easily be deployed on device or on virtual nodes. We also have a mobile app, and we have basically two probes. One is called the QoS agent, and the other one is a reflector. This is like a mirror or a ping pong racket that sends back the packets to the agent for latency assessments and quality of service assessments. When we perform measurements, we can measure latency in very detailed and precise fashion, continuously also. If you see on the right here, we measure with multiple protocols because some of you may have seen that the traditional protocol called ICMP or ping doesn't work well anymore or as well as it used to. Some router deprioritize packets, some just block them and stuff like that. So it doesn't give a good figure on the latency. And that's why we measure with other protocols, as you'll see here. And we are implementing also robotics protocol to measure in the case of industrial deployment. We also measure reliability. We measure throughput in two ways. We measure throughput with the maybe more open source iPerf, which is similar to speed test. And we measure it with a brand new way called LIFB. We did that in partnership with Orange. It's a new efficient way to do bandwidth measurements with 10 times less data. So we can measure bandwidth or throughput without affecting latency and do it continuously. And we also measure other aspects of networks. The software is available on nouvla.io site, and I think Sebastien will present that in a few minutes. This is also the let's say end user interface where you can see the results of the latency measurements in various ways. We can do KPIs of latency. We can detect anomalies in 20 milliseconds or less. We can do forecasting in the next 2 minutes and other things. So this is a quick list of differentiator about our solution. As I mentioned, it's vendor neutral, it's based on AI, and it's easily scalable because it's only based on software containers. I have listed a few supported use cases that we can implement with our solution. I'll go over them very quickly, and then we'll go for the demo. First one is to observe end-to-end connectivity with active monitoring. We can put our software in edge nodes or in CPE or devices. We can put the endpoint on the cloud and measure, as I mentioned, latency, reliability, and bandwidth in real time, continuously, and you have the real true assessment of quality of service in this way. The other one is to get instant notification. If you have latency issues, we have a machine learning program that detects anomalies when it comes to quality of service, and we can send an alarm or SNMP trap or something very, very quickly, so you can take action out of that alarm. We can do forecasting, so we can forecast quality of service with a pretty good confidence level, above 90%. For the next 2 to 3 minutes. So basically, if you set a threshold, I want latency that should not go over, let's say, 60 milliseconds. If our forecast crosses that 60 milliseconds, we can send you a predictive alarm or preventive alarm, so you can act on it using your OSS or orchestrator. We can also maintain business continuity if you have a CPE 5G modem that provides Wi-Fi or Ethernet access, let's say in a small business or a small enterprise setup. We can also put our agent inside the network, the provided network, and also do internal assessment of the quality of service provided by that switch or router. We have a mobile app. We can use it to also do walk test or bike test or all kinds of let's say mini drive test, and you can have a dynamic heat map of the latency and the quality of service of your network within a house, outdoor, indoor. It's possible. Lastly, if you have a network where you have full access, then you can deploy pairs of agent reflector at different places to get a segmented view of the quality of your network. Lastly, we also have a perturbator or a traffic shaper. We can induce latency, jitter, packet loss, reduce the throughput, or duplicate packets so that you can test your network at the different limits for your specific use cases. So this is for LatenceTech, and this is what we have to offer with our solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Benoit. Let me share my screen. Can you see it? So,
yep.
I will briefly show you nouvla.io and also obviously the LatenceTech solution. All three components deploy, and we will deploy also one of the components together. So what you see here is the marketplace. We have quite a lot of application registered on the platform. Let's focus today on the LatenceTech solution. So you see here, I can filter them. LatenceTech. Voilà. I filter only those applications. Let me briefly open one. So it's really easy to register a new app on the Nuvla platform. Basically, we use plain vanilla Docker Compose. So you can here put an icon, a description, some links. You can put a link to your terms and condition. You can define the pricing of your app, and then let's say the coding of the app is really your Docker Compose. So it's most of the time you can register your app on Nuvla within minutes. It's really easy to integrate. Now let me show you the device management part. So here I have 4 devices linked to this account. Let me just maybe open one, and I can just show you some metrics about these devices. You can monitor the resource consumption, see running containers on them, see the deployment. On this one, you can see there's already an agent running on that device. Now let's switch to all deployments linked to my account. So here you can see I have a LatenceTech analyzer. I have the reflector that Benoit mentioned earlier, and I also have 2 agents running. Here, if I open the analyzer deployment, you can see there's a web app link, so I can just access the LatenceTech application directly by clicking this link on Nuvla. So this is the LatenceTech dashboard. Here you can see the 2 agents linked, sending data to my analyzer, the one and the number 1 and the number 3. I can here switch in time, and I can have also some other dashboards. So Benoit, don't hesitate if you want to describe a bit more.
Yeah, you can click on the detail latency. For some use case, it's interesting to have latency measures protocol per protocol. And you see the red dots here are the anomalies or the peaks we have detected for each protocol, and we count them, put them in percentage. On the right, you see you have 4 or 5 anomalies, and 3.38% is the number of anomalies for this evaluation period. For each anomaly, we can send an alarm if you needed to. You can go to the forecasting one. There's a third one there, third dashboard, sorry. So this is the forecasting feature that I mentioned. So in blue, we have the averaged observed latency, or the forecasting function forecasted the next 2 minutes between the green and orange line. And in this case, maybe you stopped it or whatever reason, the confidence level is 68%, and we're going to forecast within a range of 2.3 milliseconds in the next 2 minutes. And as I mentioned, the idea here is that if you set a threshold, let's say to some maximum level that you need for your application or your network, or forecasts crosses that threshold, we can send a preventive alarm.
Great. Also would like to show the route tracing.
Yep.
Just because later on, so currently I have an agent deploy here in Switzerland, and the reflector is also in Switzerland, and later on I'll try to deploy another agent in Massy, in France, to show the difference in latency, difference in route tracing.
Sometimes we have latency issues because of the route taken by the data when it goes outside, let's say, the operator's network. When it gets to the cloud, we see all kinds of weird routes, which is not helpful on the latency. This is the tool is used to do that. It's used.
Perfect. So let's switch back to Nuvla and deploy one more agent. goal is also to show you how easy it is to deploy from Nuvla.io. So here I pick the agent. I click here the deployment button. I will select this device. It's in the Equinox labs in Massy. And here I have to define some environment variables. So you have to pick an agent ID, which is not used yet. I pick 7. Here it's the URL to my reflector where I deploy my reflector, and here it's the IP address of the analyzer. Since it's a third-party paying app, I have to accept the terms and condition and also accept the fact that it will cost me something to deploy this application. Now I click deploy. And I'm here on my deployment page. I see here at the top a progress bar showing me the progress of this deployment. It takes always more time when it's live in a demo, so let's hope we can see it deployed.
I think during the time it is deployed, I think we have one question that I can share with you from the team. So the question is, can you deploy these LatenceTech QoS agents on which kind of Equinox devices?
Yeah, very good question. So on all Equinox devices supporting Flex Edge, which is our Nuvla Edge agent running on it, or just any devices. Obviously, it's very well supported on Equinox devices, but Nuvla Edge is hardware agnostic, and you can just run it on almost any device. So here I have a mix of some of the agents are deployed on Equinox devices, some other agents are just deployed on, one is deployed on a Raspberry Pi, the other on a Linux PC, the other one in a special edge computer. So it's really very hardware agnostic. It looks like it's deployed. So let's switch back to the dashboards. I will refresh it, and here you can see now I have the ID 7, and you can see it was just deployed, so there's no history of the data. But if I switch back, okay, 5 minutes is the smallest history. So you can see it was just deployed within a couple of clicks and running, and also integrated to the LatenceTech analyzer dashboard. Now let me show you a last thing on Nuvla. If I click here on my account, you can see the consumption in terms of Nuvla Edge, but you can also see the application consumption linked to my account. So you can see that I have 2 agents deployed with this account, and you will have a kind of overview of your consumption here on this page, meaning it's also, as a user, it's also very easy. You are billed only, you get only a bill from SixSq, and we take care of all the third-party bill splitting.
Actually, it was as well a question that we had from the team, probably more for Benoit. So Benoit, what is the licensing model that is used by LatenceTech?
So it's a pay-per-use type license. So there's a license for the analyzer, there's a license for each agent that you deploy, and it's a very small fee, pay-per-use, as you can see in the Nuvla dashboard.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now in the meantime, I switched to the route tracing. So to the same page we looked on the device with ID number 1, and here you can see that now the route is going all the way to Massy. and we can see here the hop on the detail list.
You can display number one, but the number one dashboard. That's the overview of that. Yeah, so you see it's coming. Yeah.
It's probably too early to get the stability value.
There's
right?
just beside the 5 minutes, there's two icons. One is the on the right. Go on the right here. There's just like the next one on the right. Yeah, this one. Click on it. You can put a refresh rate at 5 seconds, and you will see data coming in much more frequently. Yeah, see it's coming here. So as I mentioned, we also since we measure continuously the latency and the quality of service and bandwidth, we can also compute the jitter. The jitter is a bit high because it just started. We can compute also the volatility of this this connectivity, the stability, the drop rate or packet loss. So these are interesting indicators that you can have also alarms linked to them. The stability is very important, as you may know, for many new applications. If there's too much volatility or instability, it can affect the connected device or application. This is why we calculate it. And again, you can put a threshold and you can send an alarm using that. And you can see also all the measurements done are on latency using different protocols here.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot, Benoit. Thanks a lot, Sebastien. So we are getting to the end of this first webinar of a long series. Thank you so much for your time to all the attendees. So the next webinar is going to happen on the 1st of April normally. So please stay tuned by being connected on our LinkedIn webpage because we are going to post the invitation every month. So if you have any question or if you want to do any POC or testing, the solution is very easy and we have some trial agreement on the platform. So don't hesitate to go on nubla.io and register to the platform and you can play with it as much as you want. And our engineering team and the LatenceTech team is there to help if you have any need or any question. So that being said, I wish everybody a very good day and a very good weekend that is coming.
Thank you.